Hello, welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. And and oh hey, look at this! It's my birthday, December 24th, 2020. Oh yeah, no wonder I didn't want to remember it. Kind of a depressing day to be that one more year closer to turning 40. Almost 40 years old, and here I am doing Toy Thursday. Hmm, that's what my mother would say. Oh well. Anyway, my ex-girlfriend always said that she didn't give me birthday gift or Christmas gift or Valentine's Day gift because she didn't know what to give me. Now that always perplexed me because honestly I am not that difficult of a person to get things for. Generally speaking, there's three things, actually four. You can either just give me a gift card for Amazon or just give me cash and I always have something that I'm looking to buy. Or you give me an action figure. Or you get me some kind of a weapon, like a sword or a knife or a BB gun or a self-defense weapon or martial art training equipment. Or failing all that, take me out for a good meal. Really, I mean, you know, that I'm a relatively simple person. If you stick to that formula, you stick to those four things, you can't really go wrong. Now, I understand that some people have mentioned before that I don't want to get you action figures because you have so many of them, and I'm afraid to get you something that's duplicate. Well, in that case, it's actually not that difficult to find out from me. Uh, in a rough category of what I'd be looking for. Like you can say, do you have any Star Wars figure, or are you missing any Star Wars figure? Are you missing any figure from Batman? Uh, or if you just want to be blunt about it, you can say, just can you send me a list of figures that's on your wanted list right now? Or if you don't want to be that complicated, just get me whatever action figures you can find that you think I would like. Even if it's one that's a duplicate, believe me, I will be happy with that too. I will replace the one I already have with the one you get, and then I will try to sell the old one or give it to some deserving children. So even if you do get me a duplicate, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, when it comes to training tools, weapons, knives, swords, all that stuff, you just can't go wrong. Like, even if you get me a duplicate, I can always use duplicates of knives and swords around here because in our self-defense program, sparring sessions or during my personal training time, I'm always breaking stuff. So having a duplicate around is always good. And there's so many different ones, such a huge variety of knives and machetes and swords and sticks and staffs and weapons out there that I would actually be really, really surprised if you managed to get me something I already have. So, really, when it all comes down to it, it's not that complicated to give me something if you just pay attention to what I like in my daily life, what I'm really into. Uh, Follow my video a little bit. I always talk about things I like or I want or I wish I had on my video. So it's not that difficult to get an idea. Now with that long preamble to the Toys Thursday and letting you guys see the back of these two characters for almost 5 minutes now, I think. Let's get into why I started off by talking about uh, ex-girlfriend and missing gifts and stuff like that. Because just to illustrate, it's really not that difficult to get me something that I would uh, be really overjoyed about. I'm going to show you guys what my good friend Wesley gave me for birthday gift last year. And that's the two little figurines you guys see in front of the camera. I'm going to take one out so we can look at them one at a time. Turn this little dude around. Yeah. If you guys been following the Marvel cinematic movies in the past few years, you recognize this guy instantly. That is Deadpool, probably the funniest and coolest and most silly superhero in the new age. Deadpool is a mercenary, a bounty hunter, sometimes hero, sometimes villain, sometimes assassin, guy who uh, was dying of cancer, and then because of his cancer, he kind of submitted himself to a secret experiment, a vaccine. No, just kidding. A secret experiment that the government was doing that would turn him into a super weapon, a super soldier. While the experiment was really unable to cure his cancer completely, it did make him more or less invulnerable. He can regenerate from like any kind of damage. There has been times when Deadpool gets smashed flat, like run over by a truck or blown up with a bomb and stuff like that. Like he can be nothing but a few pieces of body part. And if you give him enough time, it takes time. It doesn't happen instantaneously. You give him enough time, he will grow back into a complete person with his memory and everything intact. Although, when it comes to a character like Deadpool, memory is sometimes a fleeting thing. He suffers from a lot of mental problems like multiple personalities and ADHDs and PTSDs and like anything out there, you name it, he got it. That's why he's the funniest and the silliest superhero ever. Uh, this little figurine was made by Schleich, a German company. A lot of you who have kids at home, you are no stranger to Schleich product. Schleich make a lot of children's castles and little soldiers and animals. They make beautiful animals and dinosaurs figurines. And just this last few years, they started into the Marvel and DC superhero scene, started making some figurines of superheroes and supervillains. Now, I keep saying figurines, and some people are going to ask, what is the difference between an action figure and a figurine? Well, the answer is simple. An action figure has joints. An action figure has things that is going to, like weapons you can put in their hand. Action figures have uh, arms and legs that can move. Figurine, like this little guy, just one solid piece. It's just not going to do anything. That's the pose it's in. It's going to stay in that pose. That's it. Right? The sword in his hand is not going to come out. You can't take it out. You can't change the pose. That's it. That's a so it's one solid piece. That's a figurine. That's not an action figure. Now, what's the difference between figurine and statue? Well, this one is a little bit more tricky. The best answer I can give you is when it comes to collectors, uh, a statue is something that's big enough that you can put on the shelf and it would have its own definite presence, definite sense of that is what belongs there. A statue is a piece of art that will dominate its space. A figurine is something that, like this Deadpool, you need a shadow box to display him. Otherwise, if you just stick him on top of the TV or on the bookshelf, he's kind of small, so he looks a little bit lonely when you stick him in a larger space. That's a figurine. Now it's a really good looking figurine, I'll say. This guy's he's got his sword in his right hand, holding the sword down by his side. His in a kind of striding forward, walking forward pose. His face, I don't know if you can see the face. I'm going to hold him upside down so you guys can hopefully see it. His face is like a section of road with a fire hydrant in the back here, and there's a kind of manhole cover by his foot. Really detailed, and you can see on his back there's another sword sheath there. The two sword sheaths, but there's only one sword because the other one is already in his hand. And he is very muscular. Honestly, it's kind of strange because I have a Deadpool action figure, and I was never all that impressed with Deadpool's physique. I mean, he's kind of muscular, but comparing to most other muscular characters, he's just kind of normal, kind of a little bit bigger than Spider-Man, but definitely not as cut as, say, Batman. But if you look at this figurine, the sense of musculature it gives you, this guy is packing some serious bulk. So I don't know if Schleich went a little bit overboard with this guy. Actually, when I show you guys the next character, you will see that there is definitely something wonky about proportion with these figurines. But proportions aside, it is a good-looking figurine. It's about 3 inches tall, and that creates a little bit of a problem that we'll address a little bit later. Now, let me show you the other figurine that my friend Wesley gave me on the same year. Again, if you have been following the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you'll notice this guy, the Black Panther, another Marvel superhero that is not really on the top list, but usually it's among the good guys. Whenever you have a gathering of the good guys, the Black Panther is out there. He is a ruler of the fictitious African country called Wakanda, and Wakanda is a very technologically advanced country that have the resource of the world's toughest metal in the Marvel universe. And their ruler is this superhero guy called Black Panther that wears a suit of vibranium armor. What is vibranium armor? Basically, it's this super tough metal that can cancel out any kind of impact, any kind of vibration. And he has like cloth on his hand, and he go around and help the good guys fight crime sometimes. Stuff like that. Now, like the Deadpool figurine, this is a figurine. They look a little bit bigger because he's standing on a bigger base. His base is like this rocky outcrop with some ferns and leaves on it, I think. Yeah, the base is really hefty. Like this would actually make a good paperweight. Um, and he is in a wide crouch, like a martial arts stance, and just posing for the camera. Now, I don't have a Black Panther action figure. Surprising, right? I mean, how can a guy like me, who's into all kinds of superheroes and Marvel characters, and especially cat-related figures, how can I not have a Black Panther? I think it's just because people trended him too much. I think uh, I was originally interested in Black Panther, but then so many people got all hot under the collar about him and think he's super cool and blah blah blah, and that just kind of killed my interest in the guy. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. If you trend something too much, then I don't want it. So I don't have an action figure of Black Panther, so I can't give you a actual comment on if this guy is accurate to his action figure counterpart. However, From my impression, in the movies and comic books, Black Panther is a slim. He's muscular, but he should be kind of slim. And he should be more or less the same size as Deadpool. But if I stand these figurines side by side, you can see there's definitely a problem with scales here. Black Panther is huge comparing to Deadpool. Look at Black Panther's hand just covers Deadpool's head like that. Black Panther's leg beside Deadpool's head. You see a comparison. Either Deadpool's head is too small or this Black Panther is on some kind of serious steroid. Right? Even if I turn them around, stand them side by side, you can get a sense that this Black Panther is seriously wide, seriously bulky. So, as far as proportions go, I think there is something wonky going on with these figurines. Now, I do not generally collect figurines. Most of my collection centers around the 6-inch scale. I have the Ant-Man here, also from Marvel Universe. This is the standard human size figure in my collection. In other words, my collection's human have to more or less this size, which means Deadpool, Black Panther, neither of these two fit into my collection. Because standing next to a normal size guy like Ant-Man, these two are like miniature, that tiny. I will make exceptions for some characters and some figures. Sometimes I will make exceptions, especially for monsters, because when it comes to monsters, you have to kind of give some allowances to the general size. For otherwise, you will never buy a Godzilla action figure because no Godzilla action figure is ever big enough to display with other things. Um, but when it comes to standard humans, I do need them to be more or less realistic when they stand next to each other. Does that mean then that Black Panther and Deadpool were lousy birthday gifts? No. Actually, I'm really glad I have them. They don't fit in with any of my collection, but I have them standing next to each other on top of my TV, which is okay. If I get more of these things, then I can get a shadow box to display them on their own. So no, I wouldn't say they were bad gifts. I actually really glad Wesley got these for me. Um, Reason being, I have never had any figurine or action figure or toys from Schleich before. So for me to go out of my way to spend 10, 20 bucks to get something that's going to be out of scale with what I have would be a definite disappointment to me. So essentially what Wesley did was he saved me the disappointment. He got these for me, so now I know, okay, avoid getting the Shrike Marvel figurines because they're too small. So now I don't have to feel disappointed when I get something that turned out to be too small for my collection because now I know what they're like. And now I also know that their sense of scale is a little bit wonky, and but their sculptural details are really really good. These are really well sculpted. These are good looking figurines. So I'm glad to have them. I'm glad to have them. Like I said, if people give me more of these, I would definitely just get a shadow box for them. But for now, this two look fine on top of my TV. Maybe it's because of these two figurines. that opened the door for me towards products made by Schleich. Recently, during Cyber Monday, when I was browsing on Amazon, I saw this new line of action figures by Schleich called Eldradors. Uh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Eldrador, Eldrador. So what is Eldrador? Eldrador is like a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy world. There's four worlds: the lava world, the rock world, the water world, and I think the fire world. That at war with each other, and you get all kind of mystical fantasy creatures being produced by Schleich. When I saw this, I thought, wow, that's really cool. I'm always a big one for fantasy figures, like dragons and wyverns and demons and skeletons and stuff like that. Okay, so that immediately caught my attention. And again, no, going by these two little figurines, I know already that Schleich can do amazingly good sculpt on their figures and figurines. So the next question was, should I get some? Should I grab one of these Eldrador Schleich figures? Because going by these two Marvel superhero figurines, Schleich's sense of scale is kind of small. And what if I get something that's not going to fit in with my collection? Finally, because of the extremely good discount on Cyber Monday, I bit the bullet and added one of the Schleich Eldrador figures to my shopping cart. And I'm going to show you guys right now because it turned out to be surprisingly good and fits in perfect with my collection. This is the Schleich Eldrador Lava Scorpion. Look at the size of this beast. This is one big honking scorpion. Why did I pick the lava scorpion? Because I figured that even if it's too small, even if it's only 2 or 3 inches, it still would be quite monstrous next to a 6-inch standard action figure. Like that would be like you and I walking down the road, and suddenly there's this 3 feet long scorpion coming up to us. Okay, that'd still be really scary. So that was fitting just fine. Um, but this turned out to be so much bigger than I thought, and I'm so happy about that. This scorpion, from the tip of his big pincher to the back of the tail here, it's over 6 inches long, and from leg to leg, it's again kind of over 6 inches wide. Like this, I'm gonna hold it this way, so you can see the underside and appreciate how big this is. This is one big scorpion. Like this is definitely a monster worthy to terrify other action figures with. And this is not just a figurine, this is definitely an action figure. The tail moves up, down, around, the tip of the tail, around, that's 2 joints, the pincer move around. Okay? I think that's all the joints. They only have 4 joints. But for a monster, you don't need that many different joints. Okay? All I need for my scorpion monster is for it to look scary, for it to look big, and for it to sit there to scare my other action figure. And this does a good job. And look at the details on this thing. The details is amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the face, the mouth of the scorpion. See how it has the mandible around the mouth, and then in behind the mandible there's some tiny teeth in there, And the details on the shell, the exoskeleton, the carapace, all this lava, rocky details, and that gigantic tail. Look at this wicked spike at the end of the tail. How it's serrated. Really, really cool. That this is one detailed scorpion. This is probably the best scorpion action figure I've ever seen in this scale. Now, let me show you how perfect this displays. Let's say it go up against mini figurine like Black Panther. Bring Black Panther back in to the frame. Look at the top of the scorpion tail looms over Black Panther like this. And if the scorpion rears up like this, look, just one of its pincers is bigger than the entire Black Panther figurine. So against mini figurine, this scorpion looks great. It's like a terrifying monster. And even against a standard size human action figure like Ant-Man, we're going to bring Ant-Man back. Let's say you're Ant-Man, you're walking down the road and you run into something like this. Yeah, no way, it's really scary. Again, look at the size of the pincer on this scorpion. The pincer is bigger than Ant-Man's torso. And the tail, again, when posed up like this, the tail is taller than the Ant-Man whole person. Which means, if we go by normal, like real human scales, this scorpion, when it brings the tail up, the tip of the tail would be about 7 feet, 8 feet off the ground. So yeah, that's definitely a monster. So without my introduction into Schleich by my good friend Wesley, and knowing the kind of work they do on their little figurine, I probably wouldn't have the faith, wouldn't have the trust to throw money into buying this lava scorpion from the Eldrador series by Schleich. So again, even though I do not collect mini figurines, I am very glad for these two figurines. And if you're watching this, bro, Wesley, thank you so much. Really appreciate them. I'm sorry it took me this long to get them showcased on Toy Thursday. Giving you guys a back view of this scorpion. Thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. I hope everyone have a Merry Christmas. If all goes well, we'll still be back for tomorrow's Fitness Friday. For now, have a good night. Have a happy Christmas Eve. Enjoy lots of family time, friendly time, and we'll speak to you guys tomorrow.